This is your official Leguizamarama spoiler warning. If you have not seen Moulin Rouge or, the many, many works that its postmodernist story is riffing on, and you don't want to know how it ends, even though it tells you at the start, you do not want to listen to this episode. But also, go watch Moulin Rouge. It's a very well-known film.
Classic even.
Classic film. Check it out. Otherwise, enjoy this podcast.
Yes. I hate the word.
Hello and welcome to Mish and Zach's Leguizamarama, a podcast where each week myself and my little friend to my right here sit down and watch something John Leguizamo has been in, and then we have a big chat about it. My name is Mish. You might know me from in 2001. I was in year 7 and I kissed a boy for the first time.
Wow.
Yep, you heard it here first. I'm joined as always by my mate Zach,
who is not good at knowing what year level I was in
2001.
The year.
Well,
I was 11. So what year level?
You're year 6.
I graduated in 2007.
Year 6.
So I was in grade 6 and hadn't kissed any boys in grade 6.
Loser.
What had I done in grade 6? I was outgrowing Pokemon.
Great, good one. We're also joined by Tom Armstrong, not as always, but as a delicious treat. You're here most days. But that's not all. We've got a very special guest in the podcast, in the studio, I should say. If you listened to our episode on Tuesday, you know who it is, but I'm going to reintroduce them because they're worth it. They are one of the greatest voices in Australian comedy, one of our favourites. It's Geraldine Hickey.
Oi.
Yeah.
Much better intro than mine.
Yeah, I
you
know.
learnt lessons.
As I'm halfway through, I went, this is so much better than what Zach did.
Well, do you know what it was? I was halfway through my intro and I realised this is on Tuesday. Also, Tom, thanks for getting us another set of coffees
cheers.
you did on Tuesday. Yeah. We're not recording. This is one podcast. And thanks for coming back with the same shirt.
Because I liked how I kind of blended in with the
Yeah.
background.
If you are watching on our new YouTube channel, you'll see that you've really gone with a similar tone. You've gone with the orange, and it's very, very cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
Trendy. Shall I do my...
This is huge. This is a really good one.
This is one of the big ones.
I didn't want to piss about with my intro because I knew that this was going to be one of the good ones.
Yeah, this is a big one, and this is huge. And, there'll be you'll be talking to other comedians about, how was it going on that podcast where without any kind of... just two crazy people without anyone, without a straight guy to hold it all together.
What you don't understand, Geraldine, is out the back of this, you're going to get like 11 new followers on Instagram. Yeah, I reckon.
That's pretty big.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And, but they're going to go, how was it? Did they make you watch like some weird fucking thing from 2000, some weird comedy from 2005? And you're going to be like,
No.
And then it's going to be very awkward when you tell them Moulin Rouge.
Yeah. Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. Here's my little intro.
Go for it, mate.
This week, we watched the spectacular spectacle of Moulin Rouge. This crazy Baz Luhrmann-directed jukebox musical tells the story of poet Christian Ewan McGregor, who moves to Paris in 1899 in pursuit of the bohemian lifestyle, where he becomes friends with illustrator and arguably the first modern graphic designer to loose the trek, John Leguizamo on his knees, and a group of bohemians played by the who's who of MTC and STC actors. After a visit to the Moulin Rouge, he falls in love with Satine, Nicole Kidman, a beautiful courtesan with a bad cough who by night dances with the who's who of Australian's musical theatre and by day wants to be an actress, but by night is a courtesan who must seduce the Duke, Rake, so he will fund the play of that all the characters are putting on. Side note, I miss which country the Duke is from, but it can't be France yet because they chopped off all the Duke's heads about 200 years before this year. Also, Jim Broadbent is in it.
Very good.
Thank you.
This was... Okay, so can I just say, I think, I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. I think 4 years ago or whatever it was when we decided to do this podcast, I believe it stemmed from me saying to Zach, I really want to watch Moulin Rouge again.
Oh.
I love John Leguizamo. And then Zach said to me, I'd also love John Leguizamo. And then in a moment of psychosis for us both, we went, we simply must make a podcast.
We must dedicate the next 5 years of our lives to this man.
And we've waited this long.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not going to watch it now. So I've waited.
Save it.
I've been wanting to rewatch Moulin Rouge for so long because I don't think I've seen it since high school for sure.
Yes, it had been a long time for me as well, and I was excited.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
It's it is. We can't watch them all. We've had to, so we haven't watched Chef. This and Chef were the two we were holding off because he's done a lot. He's done like 150 plus films, John Leguizamo, and you can't just get them all. We watched a lot of the big ones early on, and then there was like the dark days of ER and
just a lot of 2007 dramas.
So we're coming back around, and we've finally watched Moulin Rouge.
I was very excited about watching it, and because I got the message, and I was with Kath, my wife, and I said, "Babe, I'm going to do this point." And she goes, "Are you doing that point?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're getting me on." She goes, "Oh, no, I know what you're talking about." And I said, "And I'm going to watch Moulin Rouge." I swear I said Moulin Rouge. Yeah. And then we get home, and I'm like, I didn't have Disney Plus, and I'm like, well, let's get it. I don't mind. We'll get it.
Free month.
Yeah.
First month free.
No, I've just got it all.
Oh, yeah. Look at you.
I don't know, like, why I didn't have it already. Yeah. I'm like, what a great excuse. It's for work. Tax right off now.
Yeah, perfect.
Technically not, but we'll talk about that after the podcast.
So then, and then, so we get it. I put it up, and then it starts playing. And she goes, "Hang, what? I thought you said Milan."
Very different. Why does Moulin start with a very depressed writer going, "Love is dead"?
Just like MTV editing.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so funny.
That's a shock. That's a shock to the system to expect Moulin and get.
You said Moulin. I said, yeah, Moulin Rouge.
Mulan, however, fantastic movie.
Yeah.
And now you've got Disney Plus, you can watch it.
Both now available.
You get home and Kath's watching Mulan. She's like, well, this is what I was looking forward to.
This is what I freaking wanted.
Now we both got something out of this Disney Plus experience.
That's funny.
I loved Moulin Rouge when it first came out. I remember seeing it at the cinema.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was in year 7, and I just thought it was the most spectacular thing I had ever seen in my life. I've already talked about how I already knew who John Leguizamo was, and I loved him from 2 Wong Fu days and like Super Mario Brothers or whatever. But I remember seeing him in this and just being like, I fucking love this man. But also I just thought it was such a spectacle and just so grand. And everything Catherine Martin does is just so yum, 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 yum. It's such an interesting experience to watch it again now because it is such... Despite the fact that it's set in like 1900 Paris, it is such a 2001 movie. It's like a 2-hour music video. Yeah. And it's amazing because like right up the top they do this, they introduce you to the Moulin Rouge, right? And Christian, the writer that you mentioned in your intro, is pretending to be a very wealthy man at the Moulin Rouge so he can pitch his ideas. And to kind of show the audience the Moulin Rouge, they bring out all these dancers, and it's very high energy, high impact, and they're doing the can-can, and it's like you've got Jim Broadbent at the front, Jim Broadbent, at the front, just going nuts, and it's edited and it's edited like crazy. It's flashy, and it's like, whoa, that's amazing! Whoa, I'm in the world, and then it doesn't stop for 2 hours.
It's a lot.
Do you know, honestly, and this is crazy for me to say this because I love crazy movies. Yeah. There was a point in the first 20 minutes where I was like, that's a bit much.
It was a lot.
Because I was like you, like hadn't seen it since it like it came, like was like, oh my God, I'm so excited because it was exciting, it was big, and then I got to a point where I looked up, how long does this go for again?
It was just, it's like you kind of needed to pause it just so you could take a deep breath. It's a lot.
It's one, I think, I would love to watch it in a cinema to feel what it's like in a cinema where you don't have any option to switch it off, where you have to be in it. But no, it's interesting. It's the allotness of it really surprised me, and I think it was the other thing because I rewatched Romeo and Juliet a few months ago, right? And I love that film, and I always have felt like so on Moulin Rouge, even from the first time I watched it. I never connected with it because I loved Romeo and Juliet so much. I never quite connected with Moulin Rouge because I sort of just saw it as I always felt like Romeo and Juliet has substance behind it and has ideas behind it, and the aesthetics are saying something.
Yes.
And I always felt like Moulin Rouge is more spectacle for spectacle's sake. I think I saw more in it this time around. Like I almost went on a slightly opposite journey where I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of see what it's going for. But I think the thing that really was that I felt exactly the same. Yeah. I was just like, oh my Lord.
It was just like that original, like, the can dances and stuff. It was, and you see Carolyn O'Connor, and all of a sudden Christine Arnoux is there. Yes! And you're just like, whoa. And you're just like, it's so exciting. And you've got, like, my heart was racing. I was like, oh, love this. And then about 20 minutes in,
as well, because it was like, this is a big Hollywood film with all these people, these Australians.
Yeah. I saw Carolyn O'Connor in Bombshells at the MCC last month. Yeah.
And now she's conniving.
But about 20 minutes of that, and you really did have to be like, okay, everyone calm down.
Because that's something he is really, when Baz Luhrmann's at his best, I think it's something that he does really well is this, and I think it comes from his theatre world where it's like he throws you in really hard and you have this like initial 10, 15 minutes. Does it in almost all of his movies. He does it in Elvis. He does it in Romeo and Juliet where you're like, this is a lot and I'm disorientated. And then because he throws you in so hard, once it settles back down, you're in the world. There's almost this like permission, but this one, it goes harder for longer. It's almost like his... It's like his second album in a way, even though it's, you know what I mean? It's that pushing it. But what were you going to say? Sorry.
Like in Romeo and Juliet, like you said, there's substance there, whereas this, it just feels like, you know, when you're in like year 11 and 12 drama and then you'd get like the lyrics of a song and recite them. It felt like that.
Yeah. I felt, because I hear completely what you're saying. I feel like with Romeo and Juliet, which is one of my favourite movies on the planet, right? I feel like that the same techniques were used with the like hell a lot of editing and stuff like that. But I feel like because it was handling, and please correct me if you think if you think I'm wrong. But
if I disagree,
yeah, exactly.
No right and wrong, just disagree.
True, that's what the words I was looking for. Because the text is heightened, the assistance of those kind of production elements was required for Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Whereas with something like Moulin Rouge, it's like, I understand that you two are in love.
I get it.
Stop flashing around this elephant.
I think with Romeo and Juliet, that the feeling I've always had with Baz Luhrmann is that he's always better when he's, I can't think of the words here, when he's trying... He's always better when he's subtractive instead of additive, if that makes sense. So with Romeo and Juliet, he has this challenge of a work where the language isn't going to resonate with young people. He's trying to make a movie for young people, a story that's kind of overloaded. You know, it's very theatrical, it's very long. He has to reduce it. So his mind is going, how do I make this clear? How do I communicate to an audience? How do I get this simpler than... And then he's using all of his tools and all of his team to tell something simply. I think he, kind of like, he doesn't quite get there, but I think he kind of does that with Elvis. He's trying to get a whole life down to something. Whereas with Moulin Rouge, with that Netflix series he did, there's this sort of open book and it's all additive. It's like, what can I add? Yeah. What can I do? And that's where it starts to go a little bit.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
But there's something about the maximalism of Moulin Rouge that I really do love.
Oh, right.
That I find very tasty.
Here's the thing I loved, right? So I was on the same journey as you. First 20 minutes, I was like, little much, right? And I think broadly speaking, as a whole, I kind of felt like that. But when it got to the love medley, because it's almost like he does this... I think I don't know if this was a plan, but it's like everything's running till that moment. Like everything's going till that moment. And then it kind of slows down in a way. And that Love medley on the Elephant where it's all the songs, there's a bit towards the end of that where I was just like, this is cinema. Like I had like such my God. I don't know. Like I was sitting at home at like 1 a.m. I'd just gotten off a flight from Sydney and I was just like, and I think it happens twice in the film. I think it happens during that, and I think it happens during Roxanne.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that's my favourite part of the film.
Those are the two moments where it stops. It engages with characters, it engages with story, and it just does a full song. Like it doesn't do 7 songs in a minute. But I think the power of those moments is partly helped by all the shit in between.
What was the song that in the
Roxanne when it's
the one
the love song medley where they're singing a line from every love song ever written.
Oh.
Have you ever seen?
They're on top of the elephant and they're like,
like where it starts with it's a little bit funny.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Did you see the SNL sketch of the love song medley?
No.
It's Bowen Yang and Ariana Grande, and she's doing this weird Nicole Kidman accent, and it's perfect. It's genuinely one of the best SNL sketches, modern sketches, where they're just doing that and they keep slipping into Happy Birthday.
I want to see it.
Just like singing all this funny little love song, Happy Birthday.
It's very good.
It's genuinely, it's so SNL. It's so good.
Let's go to an ad break. But after the ad break, I want to talk about real estate real quick.
Okay.
Wow.
That was a good...
We're looking to buy. No. All right. Welcome back. I promised before the ad break that I was going to talk about real estate, and I wasn't kidding. It was really hard for me to believe that a penniless writer had that kind of location for an apartment.
It is set
The
120 years ago.
Yeah, but it was such good location. I couldn't take myself out of the... Well, he didn't live in the elephant.
No, sorry.
What do you mean?
You switched off and put Moulin on, didn't you?
Yes. Oh, no, we didn't... It got to, you know when you reach that part where you go, oh, gosh, how long is this?
Yeah.
And you pause it.
Yeah.
We did that and didn't go back.
Fair call. Oh, well, you missed it.
Honesty.
Well, for what it's worth, they get together at the end and live happily ever after.
But no, she dies.
Oh, she dies heaps.
Yeah, because she's got tuberculosis.
Yeah, she's coughing up blood.
This is what we did, because we stopped watching and then we went to the pub and then we talked about tuberculosis. And how
I definitely Googled tuberculosis.
One of the first vaccines that they ever made was for tuberculosis and made by Dr. Koch.
Oh,
Get out of town.
Yeah.
There you go. Fun facts.
Fun.
That took me out of the world because the apartment location is insane.
But the thing is that it's in the bad part of town. Moulin Rouge was... I don't want to... But
can you imagine if you inherited that?
Yeah, now it would be a very, very expensive... But the film is set in 1899.
I know. I'm just saying that the location of that apartment is really
it's
good.
It's crazy. But you know that he would have been able to afford it.
I hear you. I'm saying that... Like, you can't be that sad when you live right in the mix.
I mean, it is crazy.
No, but he doesn't know how good the real estate is.
What do you mean? He can literally walk out his front door and get whatever he wants.
He has not checked his privilege, is what I'm saying.
I'm on board. I'm on board. That's exactly how I feel. Like, I know you're sad, but just look where you are, man.
And I mean, even
you're
step back further. You're in the entertainment quarter. You're just near the SCG.
Yeah.
You're right across from Afters.
Like, so good for parking.
Yeah,
really
so good.
You need a comedy store. You can go check out some comedy.
Also, did we see David Wenham for 3 seconds?
Yeah, David Wenham in drag.
Yeah, as he was.
Oh, at the start.
That was David Wenham.
That was David Wenham. Crazy.
Was
and
crazy.
also, fun John Leguizamo fact is originally John Leguizamo was not cast as Toulouse.
Yeah.
who is arguably, genuinely, I believe this, my favourite character in the whole thing is Toulouse.
Yeah.
I agree.
So good.
Yeah, wasn't coming up often enough for me.
He comes up more in the rest.
There are points where there is honestly a point there where he's there so much. You're like, I don't think you need to be here. Like, with all the edits
There's one shot where where they're singing the crazy love song, and then it zooms in on Toulouse-Lautrec, and he's like, I see a love that I will never have. Yeah, baby. You're like, what love? Who do you love? Which one do you love?
What's going on?
Are we going to clarify that? No? Okay.
Right.
Does he love? Which one does he love?
Well, no, I think
Ewan McGregor? Is that
No, I think it's that he doesn't have that kind of love, like generally speaking.
Yeah.
And like I think it's a bit of a commentary on the fact of like these two people found it, and no matter how happy and jolly you seem to be.
Well, he invented modern graphic design. I mean, that's not in the film.
Well, yeah, check your privilege. You are going to be an incredibly successful artist. We'll be talking about you.
You will be.
Years.
You will be on. You will be. Prints will be sold on. Prints of your work will be sold on Etsy for many years to come.
I get that you're 4'9", but you are famous. You fuck a lot.
Yeah,
he fucked a lot.
That's true.
Fun fact. Anyway, he wasn't originally cast as Toulouse. He was cast as the narcoleptic Argentinian.
Yeah, right. That makes
But
a
he
lot
told
of
Baz
sense.
he didn't want it. He was like, I don't want that role. I want.
And do you know who was cast as? Who was originally cast as Toulouse-Lautrec?
Benicio del Toro?
No. He was up for his role in
Romeo and
Juliet. But originally up for Toulouse-Lautrec was Mr. Bean.
Rowan Atkinson.
No, I'm pretty sure there had already been an offer. Like, it was already his role. And then John Leguizamo was like, can I please have Toulouse-Lautrec? And then he auditioned for him at the Chateau Marmont and got the part off an audition. And it is beautiful.
On his knees?
Possibly, yeah. Also, fun fact, seemingly a very offensive depiction of someone with dwarfism. But Toulouse-Lautrec didn't have dwarfism.
No.
The reason he was short was because of injuries to his leg when he was a kid, so his legs never grew, but the rest of his body did. So while still it could have, now today you would probably cast someone with a disability in that role, him standing on his knees is actually not far off what Toulouse-Lautrec's
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
condition was.
Fun
Fun little fact.
Fun little fact.
Fun
Facts
little
for Zach.
fact.
There is a
That's all I've
scene in Moulin Rouge that so even though I hadn't seen it in forever, hey Tom, I haven't seen it in forever, I still look up this scene and watch this scene quite often, which is very lame of me, but I think it's...
remember you telling me this and I was trying to figure out which one it was.
There's a point where, spoiler warning, we've already done it anyway, but Satine breaks up with Christian the writer for his benefit, whatever. And Christian the writer
she knows she's going to
She knows she's dying, so she's like, well, I'm not going to tell him I'm dying. I'll just break his heart.
The Duke is going to kill him. It's very complicated.
It's very complicated. But Christian's really upset and he's lying on his bed and he's having a little cry. And Toulouse-Lautrec comes up and is like, things aren't always as they seem. People think I'm just this strange little drunkard who only hangs out with like hoes and pimps, literally says that. But I believe in art and love, because I long for it with every fibre of my being. It's so beautiful, and it is just like John Leguizamo is so good in it. I hate to be a little John Leguizamo simp on my Leguizamo podcast, but it's the most beautiful little nugget. It's like 10 seconds, 15-second scene, but it's just the most beautiful little capture of like what's important, and I just loved it. I love it so much. Like,
why couldn't the whole film be like that rather than 2 hours and 7 minutes of...
but oddly enough, that scene that's honestly about 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, there's no cuts or edits. It's just put two very good actors in a room and see what can happen.
It's very, the movie, like there's that bit where they're pitching the musical to the Duke.
I actually love that scene.
Which is, no, I liked it. I was on board. It is insane. I'm like, this is crazy that this is like... Lucky I had just seen Sinners, which we've talked about on another podcast. But lucky I'd just seen Sinners because that's a really out there studio film. And because if I had watched this and been like, studios used to pay money to have like a guy sitting on a chair being like, what? That's what I do. I do that on YouTube. We had to spend 10 years convincing people to give us money to go, wah, 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 bah, 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 bah. It's like they used to give people $100 million to make that because it is insane, that scene. Like, it is goofy as fuck. And it's like Nicole Kidman just being goofy.
Yeah, in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I love that scene.
The thing I think, what was crazy to me was the way that I think there's something about, like, the way Lerman does coverage. And I've heard stories about this. He's very haphazard when he shoots, apparently. Like, apparently I've heard stories. I don't know how true this is or how much this is. But, like, I've heard stories of him shooting an entire day one way, right? Because, you know, like, with a big studio movie, you shoot everything one way because all the lights are set up that way and then you flip it around. That's kind of what happens on every shoot, but it really, in studio movies, you can't kind of cross-shoot as much. Apparently, he shot everything one way with a whole day of shooting, flipped it around, didn't like it, so it was like, we got to... And then just throughout the entire day of shooting. And, like, that's apparently, like, very reflective of his process. Like, a lot of overtime and a lot of just vibing it. And I think in this film, I really saw that. And because there's a part of me that thinks, well, musicals are perfect for Baz Luhrmann. But watching this, I was like, oh, there are... Just as someone's a bit older and seen a few more films, I was like, oh, there's filmmakers that know how to shoot choreography differently.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say better, but just like there were times
You can
where...
say that if you want.
No, I would love to be in a Baz Luhrmann movie one day.
No, 100%.
But there are, like, you know, there were times where I was just like, I love that fast editing and I love it in a lot of his films. But with this, there were times where I was just like, I want to see the choreography and I want to see something
100%.
where you've planned the shots with the choreographer so it works together.
That's...
You know, and there were just a
not
lot of
agree more.
moments like that in it.
The whole, like I said, the whole can, the opening, it's like it worked so well because it went from this, like, penniless writer and, oh, I think I've got an idea for a play, oh, maybe. And then it's like, this is the world of the Moulin Rouge. That, it worked so beautifully. However, I found myself getting really, pissy's the wrong word, frustrated during the Roxanne scene because I just wanted to watch them dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's such an incredible scene. That Roxanne bit where...
That's what I would recommend you do.
Didn't get there.
I recommend you do watch the Love medley, watch the Roxanne scene.
Yeah.
No, I
Those are
watched
the two.
I watched that.
You watched it?
Yeah.
Skip through to the Roxanne. They redo the Police's Roxanne as like this really intense Latin song.
Yeah,
and it's
I remember.
really...
Yeah.
Yeah,
But whatever you do, 100% watch to the end of Mulan because the last scene of Mulan is sick. If you can get to the end of that one, do it. Because
Mulan, not Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
You know, whatever, that's fine. But when you get to the end of Mulan, fuck, it really goes off.
There's two more things I thought, and then so the other thing I think I thought about when I was watching this was there's this element of I'd forgotten how, like, dead of a genre musicals were when this film came out, and I think that there's a part of me that I think, you know, talking about the 2000s, there's a part of me that was like, I think they're doing work here that you maybe wouldn't have to do if they'd made this film 10 years later or 10 years earlier. That this did the work so that, you know, that other musicals, I'm trying to think of other musicals. Chicago. Although it had to be clever with how it was a musical as well. But it did the work so Chicago could just have people singing songs for an entire song. Yeah. There's moments in this where it feels like it's trying to convince you to be on board with what a musical is. And that's part of the MTV editing, part of the songs being short, part of it feels like there's like long stretches, 40 minutes of being like, oh, it's a musical, but it's not like, you know?
What is they call it a jukebox musical.
Yeah. But it's almost more like a sample musical. Like there's just tiny little snippets of songs. And there are even moments where I'm like, did they know what this song was going to sound like when they were shooting it? Or did they decide in the edit? Like it feels very... Yeah. It's interesting.
100%. Do we have any final thoughts about Moulin Rouge? I will happily go first.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. I loved Kylie Minogue. I thought that was an inspired choice for the Green Fairy. Have you seen Moulin Rouge, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember Kylie Minogue in it? Yeah. I remember just being like, what?
Yeah. I thought that was so fun.
Did you know that was supposed to be Ozzy Osbourne?
Yes.
Truly?
Yeah, I found out that. Yeah.
And when she goes all guttural in the... It is Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I don't know how Kylie ended up being involved. My guess is that she was like, Baz, can I do it? And he was like, yeah, sure.
Kylie, I've got a film. I'm doing a film down in Sydney, and I'd love you to come down. You'd play a green fairy. You could even do it up in London if you need, a green screen. It's a new technology.
We've got Ozzy on board, but he'll be fine.
He's Aussie, can't do it. I think we've got it. It's going to be fun. I grew up in Toowoomba. I don't even know if that is.
Yeah, but I thought that was such to watch Kylie. Like, it was just kind of like, it felt like a little wink to, because this movie was obviously a big hit worldwide. It was a huge film when it came out, but it felt like a little wink to Australia, and I really loved that. And like seeing Carolyn O'Connor was I felt like such a great choice for that role. She's such a bitch in this film. Love, yum. What a great role. Like if you, I would have just been so happy with that. No, I could not have done that role. It's a high dance, high song.
Roxanne. Hello.
Roxanne.
Hello.
You know what I heard? I think,
you'll get your ending. I loved the element of Kylie because it felt like there were lots of little winks to Australia. I feel like in this movie, and I loved that. That made me so happy.
I have huge respect for, I would say, Baz and Catherine Martin, for as soon as they could, they moved production to Australia.
Yeah,
right.
Very cool.
Now, part of what I love about Romeo and Juliet is the location of it all.
Yeah.
You know, I love that it's shot on location in South America. It looks and it feels like a real world. But I just have so much respect for them for bringing things back to Australia. Yeah. And like, I'm sure there's business reasons for that, but I also think that feels like a decision. That feels like we're going to use our influence in the same way that Peter Jackson did it with Wellington.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool when people like bring
Completely
it home.
agree.
And you really feel it with this film.
Yeah,
like,
you really do.
Feels like it is. I consider this to be like an Australian-American co-production.
Yeah,
I consider this to be
absolutely.
an Australian film, and that's so cool.
One of those things where it was, you know, you'd watch and you'd see Australians on it, so it was, you know, you can't be what you can't see.
Yeah.
And so it was maybe I can be successful in I'm not a can dancer, but you know,
maybe if I could pull off a singlet, like Ewan McGregor.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I've got two, but one is very quick. One is, never have I seen a director find a person's angle better than Baz Luhrmann found Ewan McGregor's. There's this like slightly above him, slightly down. Like, it's just, Ewan McGregor is shot 90% of this film from one particular angle, and it's perfect. It's like he got Final Cut or something.
Yeah.
He looks so good.
Yeah.
It's just literally like, just, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
you know that it's
absolutely.
like it's like maybe a few centimeters higher than him and shooting down, and it's just like so kind to him.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
But my final thought is, and I don't know quite how to articulate it, Jim Broadbent's performance evoked for me something that Baz Luhrmann does really, really well, because he does it really well in Romeo and Juliet, and I think he does it well in other movies, is the sleazy, sort of morally ambiguous guy who isn't like great. It's like the dads in Romeo and Juliet have this quality. He has this quality.
Tom Hanks and Elvis has it.
Tom Hanks in Elvis a little bit, but Tom Hanks sort of stays sleazy, right? But this sleazy, like morally ambiguous, exploitative guy who over the course of the film has this sort of journey of like, they don't have a redemption arc. They're not good people by the end of it, but you see their love, and you see how they maybe love the person. Tom Hanks has this. It's a more complex exploration of it, but this sort of figure that exploits but also loves, and the complexity of that relationship. He does it really beautifully and really subtly in a lot of films, and it's rarely the main focus, but it's like Jim Broadbent's arc in that film is really interesting.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I completely agree. I'm trying to find the right words, because your mate Richard Roxburgh, aka Rake, is so phenomenal in this as well. And I think it's a similar. It's that kind of the morally ambiguous, or there wasn't much ambiguity. There wasn't a lot of ambiguity in the Duke. But I think that, he captures that kind of like discomfort. He can make you feel very uncomfortable.
But also there's this element of like, he doesn't feel the need to have a person. There's an arc that characters like that often have where they become good, or where it's like because they are on the side of the main character by the end, that absolves them of everything. Like he doesn't bother himself with that arc. He kind of is like, that's still a morally ambiguous person. That's still a person that was exploiting them, but they have many feelings, or they have many. There's this sort of, he stays in the moral complexity in a way that I think is kind of more interesting and more like it doesn't absolve characters. And
because you can still feel his love for the Satine character so deeply.
And that's his version, his idea. You see his worldview and you see his idea and why he's doing, but it doesn't at any point sort of absolve him of that, you know? It's the same with the Duke. There's one shot, and I don't know if it's direction or performance. I think it's performance, where when Caroline O'Connor's in his ear and he first realises that something's going on between the writer and Satine, where you go, even though this is such an arch, sort of like over-the-top, villainous character, this one moment where you're like, he's the main character in his story and he's been betrayed. It's like this beautiful moment where in his world, he's been betrayed by the woman he loves. Yeah. And you're like, and he's a bad guy. We're not asked to sympathise, but we are sort of forced to empathise. And it's a very cool little moment. It's funny when he does subtlety, because he does do subtlety, but it's like hidden amongst.
You have to get
the maximalism.
Past the first hour.
But this one past. No, it's the whole. You got to see through the whole 2 hours. It's really
100%.
Any final thoughts from you?
I had the subtitles on, so I'm one of those people who like watching movies and everything with subtitles. And I learnt that it's Creole Lady Marmalade and not Creole Lady Marmalade.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
But sometimes with those subtitles, that just could have been what the subtitler heard. Sometimes they struggle.
That song had in 2001, every 13-year-old girl in a chokehold. We all were obsessed with that song.
It's so funny.
Even older people were. I was obsessed.
Yeah, there too. Yeah, no, everyone. Like even my mum was. That song was so popular. Do you remember Lady Marmalade?
Oh yeah.
And like.
But what a crazy thing to have
Pink.
that song.
Oh, it was all the Little Kim was there.
Yeah.
Little Kim.
But then Missy Elliott opened it.
That's right.
Which is iconic.
Yeah.
And then it was Maya.
He's always known how to like. He's always had good.
Christina Aguilera.
Well, then it's Craig. There's a guy. He has his music guy. Great taste. Great taste in music. But also very funny because imagine. I was trying to put my head in the mind of someone in 2001 who loves that music video, who loves that. And then the one time that song is in the film, it's the guy from Borrow is singing it. Hello, real Lady Marmalade.
Which I also loved.
Yeah, no, that's the most baller thing to do.
Okay, so let's do our Leguizamos.
Ooh.
So, Jez, Leguizamos is a score out of 5 stars, but it's not based on what you thought about the movie, whether the movie is. Yeah. It's based on how Leguizamo-y it is. So John Leguizamo in it, based on that. So like,
there's so many. It is the vaguest thing.
Yeah. So just take with it as you will.
It's a Leguizamo.
So
you know, like his one-man shows. Often get 5 Leguizamos, but then there are films that he's in 2 scenes of that get like really high scores because that's very him.
But also
his movie, like I'll just come in.
And jump on.
I'll just give it's 5 because it wouldn't be Moulin Rouge without him.
Jez, you get it. We don't even have to. We don't have to give you our weird examples.
Yeah. People are always. I've never seen someone.
I've never seen someone fuck with Leguizamo so much.
You were just like, I fucking get it.
Yeah, I get this shit. Let me take the brains. Obviously, it's a 5 from me as well. This is quintessential Leguizamo. I think, and I've said this a million times, my favourite John Leguizamo is John Leguizamo with nuance. And I think this character had so much of it. And one of the things that makes him so remarkable in working with someone like Baz Luhrmann, who does often thrust a lot of stuff in your face, John Leguizamo is able to thrust with Baz, but still hold this level of complexity and nuance to what he is doing. And the kind of tragedy of his character was so clear even in some of the brightest, lightest, happiest, most romantic moments of this film. And I think that is what makes him my favourite actor, but just makes him so good.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy thing to do, I don't think. So that's why it gets 5 from me, Ovi.
Now, here's what I'm going to say to all of that. I'm going to say, I just want to tap into what you just said about when actors and directors work, I think is such a special thing. And it's such a shame he only ever did 2 movies with Baz Luhrmann, because I think there are actors that don't get Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, often they're big parts of his films, right? There's a sort of a bigness. Joel Edgerton really got it, right?
Jim Broadbent got it.
Where it's like, you go big and then you find the truth within that bigness. It's like you can't find a truth as opposed to that, but you also can't go big in a hollow way, which arguably Tom Hanks did, right? It's like a theatrical truth, right?
Yes.
And it's so perfect for John Leguizamo because I've seen him in films. I've seen him do subtle in films. I've also seen him in films. He seems like the kind of actor, not dissimilar to me on the rare occasions I act, where I'll just like bring everything and just hope the director reins it in. Like I'm like, here's all my offers. You know what this is, so tell me to pull it back. Tell me to not do X, Y, Z. And you kind of see sometimes with John Leguizamo where it's like he's clearly brought all these offers and the director hasn't been strong enough in their vision. What I love about Baz Luhrmann is it feels like he goes yes to all of his offers and then molds it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I got to give it 5 Leguizamos too.
Geraldine was genuinely getting so anxious.
You were on a reality show. You know this tension.
Yeah. But if you go along with it.
That's true.
That means that you were lucky enough to be in the studio when we hit a
Leguizamarama,
which is when everyone gives it 5.
Wow. Very exciting.
Based on everything we've just said about Moulin Rouge, for you, is it a Leguizamo, please, or a Leguizamo?
It's a Leguizamo, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'd love it for the music. Watch it for the music.
I watched it 800 times when I was 15.
Yeah.
And then not in 20 years. So.
Yeah. But no, and when you do, you'll be like, this is oddly one of the most 2000, not oddly because it was huge in the year, but it's such a quintessential 2001 film. My God.
And then but keep going.
Yeah. Don't stop. And then at the end, because you're on Disney Plus, you can just switch over to Milan after, which is so great.
Tom, sorry, you know we're talking about Moulin Rouge.
Yeah. I don't know if it's clear to anyone who's been listening.
We're not talking about the young Chinese girl who dresses as a man to join the army.
No, not at all. Great. Geraldine, thank you so much for joining us for this. This has been so fun.
What a treat.
What a treat. I've honestly been looking forward to doing this episode for about 4 years now, so this has been a joy.
I think we should do it again.
Come back.
Oh, come back.
Okay, yeah.
Come back. No, hey,
We can do it about Milan.
If you ever want to come back and watch like a season of mediocre 2000s television that he did, you know, you're more than welcome.
Love it, yeah.
Yeah, you want to revisit ER with us?
I've done it. I'll do it again.
Yeah, you watched ER?
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah.
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 Did you get to the later seasons?
No. Because they put it up on iView.
They did too.
They took it off.
Yeah, rude.
Thank
you to our listeners for listening to a Leguizamarama episode.
Follow you on all your socials.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Come and see a show.
Come and see
absolutely.
a show.
Well, this is coming out in 2 weeks. Are you doing Brizzy or
I
Sydney?
am, but Brisbane's I'll be there. Try and get a ticket sold out.
Okay.
No, I'll be. But I'm doing a bunch of shows, so get online.
Always
you can
doing
me somewhere in
shows.
Caloundra. Come to Caloundra.
Come to Caloundra.
Go to Caloundra.
I'm doing
Don't be
an
a
extra
fool.
show in Brisbane, but later on in the year.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, look up dates anyway.
What should Tom take us away with? It's got to be something.
Tom, I would like you to take us away with you performing a cappella Lady Marmalade.
Yeah. Is that cool?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I was just trying to make it easy. You just get a microphone, get the lyrics up. No? Okay.
It's Creole, not Frio.
Frio, Lady Marmalade. Just a woman who makes jams in Fremantle. Thank you so much for listening to Leguizamarama.
Orange. Boil with sugar.
Frio Lady Marmalade. is such a good idea.
It's not.
And if it was 2001, now people.
That's our bloke. That's our.
Thank you so much for listening to Leguizamarama. We'll catch you next week. We're nearly done. It's like 4 months left. We did a count.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
No, I'm warning them so they don't turn around and be like, oh, yeah, we hate you for finishing this off. You know? Anyway. No one's going to
picture have you painted of this audience?
It's so angry.
I hate you. We wanted you to keep watching John Leguizamo movies. We thought he made infinite movies.
We'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. The Mish and Zach podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We believe that our collective culture will never reach its full potential until we embrace the history and the truth of the oldest cultures of this land.